What is good, YouTube? Stu here with a video on the future of the DC universe. No one actually knows what that is. I don't actually think James Gunn knows what that is either, because it's almost like he's confusing himself, which is confusing the audience. It's like, come on, bro, just say what you mean. Stop pandering on Twitter and Instagram threads. Say what you actually freaking mean, because I get sent a lot of questions going, yo, what does he mean? I don't think he knows what he means. If it's going to take until we see Peacemaker Season 2 to know what the continuity is in a new universe, it's supposed to be a brand new universe. It's not that hard. Fire everyone, recast everyone, and then you wouldn't get these confusing questions that you get all the... I mean, I get them all the time, and it's hard to decipher what the freaking hell James Gunn is trying to say. Hire someone to do the wait, you did hire someone to do the PR, but you keep talking. So one of the bad things that's come from the writer's strike being over is James Gunn is back on Twitter confusing the hell into everyone. So, yo, what is freaking good, YouTube? Stu here with a video on the future of the DC universe, if there is one. If you're new around here, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the Marvel, Kaiju, Monsterverse, pop culture content that I try to cover on a daily basis. If you could subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on, and let me know down below, can you understand what the freaking hell James Gunn is going on about? Also, check us out on Instagram at Stu to see the beautiful face behind the beautiful voice. Check us out on Twitter, StuG, or X.com. I'm going to keep calling it Twitter until they actually officially change it to X.com, because although the logo on the mobile phone says X and the website says X, it still says Twitter.com when you're on it. So let's break it down. James Gunn, you keep lying. The lies continue. And can we just stop this narrative that your boy Stu, aka War Drizzy, aka the iconic voice, aka the founding father of the DC universe? Can you stop this narrative that I dislike James Gunn? I don't dislike him. It's just really hard to actually figure out what the freaking hell he's on about. I think he's a good writer to a certain degree. I think some of the movies he's done are good to a certain degree. I really liked Peacemaker Season 1, mainly because I'm a big John Cena fanboy and have been since the wrestling days. And John Cena is like the GOAT. And the Suicide Squad movie was good. Go on the Instagram at Stu. I don't post very often. I post stories every day, but I don't actually make posts. Look what I actually wrote about the Suicide Squad. So before you keep saying you're a James Gunn hater, I'm not. But there's a big difference from being head of a studio, but he's not writing everything. Okay, so he's wrote the Superman movie. He's wrote Peacemaker. Well, it's now confirmed he's writing Season 2. And he's also heavily involved in Creature Commando. So when I say he's literally doing everything in a DC new universe, it literally looks that way, because he only seems to tell us things about what he's doing. Like, what about Batman Brave and the Bold? Give us some other updates about some other projects. Come on now. So recently, James Gunn has been caught in another lie. So I don't really mind if the Snyderverse gets restored or not. I was invited by Netflix to go see a special preview of the Rebel Moon movie over at Netflix, and got to speak to Zack Snyder personally. So everyone knows that Zack Snyder said this multiple times. This is why it's such a lie when James Gunn comes out and says the following. So Zack Snyder would return to finish Justice League 2 and 3, whether it be an animated version, a comic book run, or whether they just release his storyboards. He would actually return. But when James Gunn comes out and says this, there is a line. So I've got to say this. There's got to be the wackiest hashtag ever since Netflix hasn't expressed any such interest. Although we've discussed other stuff. Interesting. So you've discussed stuff with Zack. Zack hasn't expressed any interest and seems to be happy doing what he's doing. And yes, we have talked. Okay. Zack hasn't expressed any interest. Okay. And then he kind of contradicts himself all the time. For someone that's somewhat successful in his career, he doesn't half need to he should really cross-reference what he said before he starts talking. And then recently, he said this. I would think it was obvious that I meant Zack hadn't expressed any interest to me in other discussions. So you can quit spamming this on every single post. Okay, let's read that. Zack hadn't expressed any interest to me. Previously said, Zack hasn't expressed any interest. Okay. This is like the Ben Affleck wants to direct a movie situation where Ben Affleck didn't really give a but you said he did. Hadn't expressed any interest in conversations with me. Then he's like, hasn't expressed any interest to me. Come on, freaking lad. No wonder no one knows what's going on in the DC universe because you keep contradicting what you're freaking saying. And people be like, yo, what's you? You're a James Gunn hater. I don't know him personally. I've met the other co-head, Pete Safran, at the Shazam UK premiere. I really like Pete Safran. I think he's a very passionate, expressive person. I think he's very good at his job. I haven't met James Gunn yet, but I will give my honest opinion and honest views about anything. I'm not a shill. I can't be bought by any studio. Sure, I've attended red carpets and premieres and stuff, but I'm still going to give my honest opinion. I still get access to events if I choose to attend them. Come on now. So it just makes me laugh. So, in season 2, Peacemaker, we're going to find out what the continuity is, which it's a really weird thing to come out and say. So, according to James Gunn, the new DC universe doesn't start, nothing is canon. And this is where it gets confusing again. Nothing is canon until Creature Commandos. No one cares about animated stuff, at least in DC though. Nothing matters till Superman Legacy. And then he's asked a question on Instagram. How is this Peacemaker Season 2 going to work continuity-wise, considering Season 1 smack dab the DCEU? Okay, so there was a scene right at the end of the movie with my boy, John Cena, a.k.a. Peacemaker, a.k.a. the dick jokes. And guys, you need to read between the lines. When I troll saying, oh, the dick jokes, I mean, there was too many dick jokes in. Okay, there wasn't really. It's just learn to take a freaking joke. So in this scene, we got a silhouette of Henry Cavill Superman. Should have been Henry Cavill Superman because nothing's canon. It's kind of like Henry Cavill's cameo not being in the Flash movie. If it's not canon, it doesn't freaking matter. Throw Ben Affleck back into Aquaman 2 because nothing matters until your movie comes out. It's almost like the egotistical part of him is like, yo, it only matters when it's me. Do a hard freaking reboot. You've recasted Superman for no reason because you wanted to. So just recast freaking everyone. So in this scene, we actually get the physical version. Ezra Miller was actually there. Jason Momoa was actually there. And they are both in the Flash post-credit scene. So everyone seems to think that there's going to be no Justice League members left in the new universe. But reports are going around that allegedly Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, is going to be in the new universe, and that Jason Momoa is going to be Aquaman in the new universe, and everyone keeps going, oh, it's going to be freaking Lobo. Is he though? Where's his evidence? We don't know. So I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, and even though I know the lad who is called My Time to Shine, although everyone seems to think it's a girl, we don't know because it's a bot account. What do I mean by a bot account? They're too scared to show their faces because of reasons. Now, I mean, I don't mind. I cover everything on this channel. So we will cover what My Time to Shine, he, she, the lad, the ladette said recently, even though I know it's kind of made up and I know it's nonsense. And most of these Twitter scoopers, ever since they paid for Twitter Blue, are throwing out absolute nonsense because they somewhat make a bit of money for Twitter Blue. Not really. Like, it's almost pointless, to be honest. I mean, I was told for 2 million impressions on Twitter, you make like $20. I mean, one of the biggest YouTubers on the planet said how much money he makes on Twitter Blue. And it's like, yo, if that's one of the biggest YouTubers on the planet that gets over 200 million impressions, yo, no point actually turning it on unless you're actually trying to reach people on Twitter for a reason. So can we get some freaking toast? That's another account. I actually was told that Can We Get Some Toast and My Time to Shine is the same person. I mean, it seems to be. So this apparently, Patty Jenkins' take for her cancelled Wonder Woman 3 with Gal Gadot was set in the present day of the DCEU after the Justice League and her cameo in The Flash. It would feature DC cameos, characters, one of them being Ben Affleck, Batman. Okay, I think this is made up. It's a Twitter bait. I mean, the post did pretty well. And then My Time to Shine, the lad said, oh, Ben Affleck was fully invested as Batman again. And yeah, Twitter bait. Were they though? I don't know. I mean, James Gunn did have a meeting with him to direct something because he was so freaking keen. Then it came out. I mean, when stuff comes out in the trades, because they are the earpiece for the studio sometimes. So you can take it at face value when Ben says no, he didn't want to do any work with him. So you're saying Ben was back, you're saying Gal was back. This was pre-James Gunn, I presume. But saying that James Gunn was writing Superman Legacy before we all knew this stuff. And it just doesn't make sense how David Zaslav let Henry Cavill come out just after the Black Adam movie. Like, yo, I'm back. And at this time, James Gunn knew he wasn't actually back because they were obviously in negotiations to take over the studio and be co-head. So it's just so political, so much nepotism. You're keeping your brother's character in the DC new universe, although it's not really a new universe. I just wish James Gunn would come out and say what he actually means rather than saying what he thinks people want to hear. It's not really that hard to make a good Superman movie, and no one cares for a Superman movie where we have Clark Kent being really nervous and bumping into things, and just it's not hard to make a good Superman movie. So I keep seeing takes of what has to happen in the new Superman movie. We all know how it's going to freaking go down. It's basically going to be Man of Steel 2, but it's set in a universe where it's not an origin story. Other superheroes already exist. It's not an origin story for either Clark Kent or Superman, but no one really cares for an origin story. It just sounds like the CW program to me. We're most likely going to get Brainiac or Lex Luthor. It's just going to be a variation of everything else. And I get it. James Gunn's trying and go, yeah, all these movies should be standalone. But the reason they're doing the DC new universe, if it is one, as standalone movies, but there's other superheroes in them, and why I keep calling it Black Adam 2.0 is Grace Randolph said a bunch of stuff, said it's basically Black Adam 2.0 with the Justice Society of America. And if you look which character, Hawkman, Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific. I'm spitballing, don't quote me, but if you look at the plot, and then Daniel RPK came out and backed it up. So when I say it's Black Adam 2.0, it basically is. Then Grace Randolph came out recently and had some interesting words from what she's heard from behind the scenes, and I put it on the tweet, and people are like, I agree, it won't feel like DC, it'll feel like James Gunn DC or Marvel 2.0. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see whatever the hell comes out, and we don't know if it will come out in 2025, because although it appears the script is done for Superman Legacy, this actor strike is still ongoing. Sure, they can have the studios hired out, and as you know, apparently they're going to be filming most of it in England at the Warner Bros. Studios there. It doesn't mean anything until the actor strike's over. And seeing as how bad the WGA strike was in terms of how long it lasted, and now I might get some flack for saying this, if you actually look into it very in depth, the boy Geeky Cast on Twitter has put a whole thread up of what the WGA actually got. It's actually pretty shit. They didn't really get what they wanted at all, but no commentators will actually come out and say that and say, oh yes, the WGA strike, they got what they wanted. No, they didn't actually get what they wanted. If you look into it properly, it's not a very good deal. I think something like that's going to go down with the actor strike. They probably most likely will get the medical cover they want and maybe get some, kickback from streaming service. But overall, they're not going to get what they want, although it doesn't cost the studio much. The studios will always win like they did with the WGA. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the freaking hell is going on. Who's right, who's wrong? Does James Gunn know what the freaking hell is going on about? We don't know, but they keep contradicting themselves. Obviously, James Gunn's the figurehead of the whole studio. So when I say they, I mean the studio, because he is, in theory, the studio, because Pete Safran is like a silent partner where you don't really hear anything from him because he's taking care of the producing side and the business side. And realistically, you don't need to hear anything from him. So, like always, guys, check us out on Instagram, OSU, check us out on Twitter, OS2G. Let me know. Let me know if you think I'm a James Gunn hater. I still think it makes no sense that Amanda Waller is going to be back when she literally was in the scene where Henry Cavill Superman and Black Adam, and it's just going to confuse the general audience. And people are like, yo, I am the general. No, the general audience would not watch content like this. And the Blue Beetle actor's going to come in the new universe, but his movie's not canon. It's like, oh, the vigilante from Peacemaker is coming back. Let's be honest, everything to do with James Gunn is coming back and people he liked. So I presume he liked Gal Gadot, so maybe the rumor is true. And if Gal's coming back, it's like, yo, Why the frick? If they bring one member from the Justice League back, it'd be like, yo, so it's all canon still, or we don't know what's canon. But we'll find out what's canon in Peacemaker Season 2. So what are they going to do? I mean, the best way they could do it would be to have a flashback scene to Peacemaker Season 1, but replace it all with the new casted people, like the new Batman, David Korsner, if they've casted a new Flash Aquaman. Have basically flashback it to a different version of the scene. Or if the new Justice League, that would be, I mean, a way to do it. So like always, guys, let us know down below. Let's have a healthy discussion. No negativity, because I just don't respond to stuff like that. So like always, guys, check us out on Instagram at WarsStew, check us on Twitter at WarsStewG. And I'll catch you in another video very soon. Catch you later.